I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Welcome to today's episode, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do I have an amazing guest for you today? I mean, I always have amazing guests for you, but Emily McKenna has been blowing my mind ever since I got introduced to her work. I've been on a rabbit hole digging into everything she does because she's incredible. She's a fiber and collage artist. So she works in textiles, she works with paper, wood, everything, everything. Um, she comes from a really cool background. She's got economics and mathematics degrees behind her. She had a sewing and art studio and has recently, in the past few years, become a full-time artist. So if you go check out her website, emilymckenna.com, or check out her Instagram, Emily McKenna Made, you can see all the incredible stuff she makes. I cannot wait for you to hear this episode. So let's just dive right in. Hi, Emily. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Me too. I'm so excited to talk about quilting and learning more about you. And I've been enjoyed listening to your show, so I'm so honored to be on.
Oh, thank you. I'm so flattered. Whenever people are like, yeah, I listen, I'm like, well, you do? I don't know why I'm just like, still like, people listen to this? I don't know.
It's a very like solo thing, and to think about how many people listen and you don't know or know their reaction has got to be strange.
It is super weird. But also, I just have to like not think about it too hard or I'll start spiraling. And then I'm like, I can never make another episode. Like,
Yeah,
but
I have definitely deleted posts on social media being like, I just think about all the ways people would read it and be like, never mind, I'm just not going to say anything.
you're like, I was just joking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I'm like, I should talk about this thing. And then I'm like, nope, delete, minus, get
Yeah.
that out of here. Like,
Yeah,
pretend that never happened. Yeah, for sure.
exactly.
But well, we're here to learn more about you. I literally have just been in this rabbit hole of like learning about you,
Mm.
looking at your art, everything you make, and I'm just obsessed. I'm losing my mind over everything. So I'm just
Thank
feeling kind of
you.
like fangirl about it. So before we dig into like the current stuff, because like recently you recently made a week of the blocks for the mass shooting project with Seam Ripper
Mhm.
Society. So that's actually how I kind of started getting connected with you. Um, but before we get into that, I want to know how you got into this artist crafty making space. And yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long, organic, slow growing process. Both my parents are super they're creative, but they're more like hands-on. Like my mom is into sewing and upholstering, and then my
Mm.
dad does woodwork as a hobby and metalwork, and they have weird little sub hobbies. So my dad was into model airplane racing, and he
Whoa.
would design and then machine the parts.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of just like I've been surrounded by if you want to do it, just do it kind of thing. And
Yeah.
but also I fought it for a long time because my mom really wanted me to do well in school and go to college and do things that she wasn't able to do. And
Sure.
so I spent a lot of time identifying as academic and math and all that. So I went to college for economics and math. And then I was an analyst for a while. But throughout everything, making things just grounded me.
Hmm.
And I never called myself an artist because I never felt particularly artful. I didn't have the tools to know how to use my creative voice because you think, oh, you have to be good at drawing or painting, and I'm not good at either of those things. So slowly I've found myself, and I used to call myself an art wallflower because I love to be in around the arts, look at art, talk to artists. I did everything I could to support the arts.
Hmm.
And then when I had kids, I stayed at home and I just was like making clothes for them and um doing stuff around the house and decided when they went to school that I was going to do something creative. I didn't know what it was,
Hmm.
but I said I'm going to just make, because every time I make something, I'll be learning and adding tools to my arsenal, and
Yeah.
then I'll figure it out. And so eventually I decided to start a sewing studio because so many people would see what I made and they'd say, "Oh, I have a machine in the closet. I wanted to learn to sew, but I jammed it and I just put it in the closet." Or, "I've always wanted to learn how to sew, but my grandmother was so strict and I got tired of
Yeah.
seam ripping." And um, I remember as a kid, like wanting to get my hands in everything and
Hmm.
all of the things available to kids art wise or craft wise. It's like they did the fun part, the messy part, and they just let you
Yeah.
do the part that like looked good. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Hmm.
I tell this example is like I sand art was super cool when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
went to the local craft store for a day camp and we were gonna do sand art and I was so excited. And all they did was let us pick the colors. And I'm like, I want to
Stupid.
pour the sand.
Yeah, that's the whole fun of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
that's kind
gosh.
of the like whole like starting point, I think, of where I am now is I want to create a space for kids to go and feel young and able. Like that was our hashtag.
Yeah.
And let kids sew on the machine at a young age with extreme safety and precaution. But, it wasn't about exact seam allowances and straight lines. I mean, we worked towards that, but the initial part
Sure.
was just learning and having fun and making things that you cared about and kind of finding your creative voice. And then from
Yeah.
there, it grew into like I added an art program and a crafts camps, and I actually learned a lot for myself
Yeah.
teaching.
Yeah.
I got to have an excuse to buy materials that I never would have and try them out. And so once I like worked super hard through COVID to keep it open. We live in a small town in Georgia where like it was, I mean, our schools shut down. We had at home learning, but compared to like big cities, our COVID shutdown was very short.
Mm.
And so that summer, one of the only things kids could do was come to my studio because our class sizes were naturally small.
Hmm.
And it was followed the law of like no more than 10 people meeting.
Right.
And so we had camps. I used to have a couple camps in the summer and then like open studio. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much about it.
No,
It's a
no, this
really
is about
long.
you. Like, no, this is about you. And I'm like just like fascinated. I'm so excited. No,
You're
this is
like,
good. Good. I know.
it's it's just a long, slow build to where I am, where I had to gain confidence because
Yeah.
that first time I called myself an artist was like monumental for me to say, to own that word, that little
Yeah.
word.
Right.
And so yeah, we had camps, morning camps, afternoon camps, every week, sold out. And I didn't want to put other people at risk, so I taught most of the camps myself, and I
Okay.
had like a young helper, and I made my kids help.
Yeah.
And not that I wanted to put my kids at risk, but like, you
Right.
know. And then our school got pushed back a month. So we,
Mm.
instead of starting in August, we started in September. And so we
Okay.
added camps. Like I planned camps for months and we just in a week added like 8 more camps.
Wow.
So all that to say, by January, I was done. I
Yeah.
was creatively, I had nothing left. I was dried up with ideas. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I just remember over Christmas break, like crying and telling my husband, I was like, I'm just locking the door. Like,
Hmm.
we're not gonna, I can't anymore. And luckily, one of my teachers, who is the exact perfect person to take it over, wanted to buy it. So
Oh,
I taught
good.
through the end of the school year. She bought it in the spring and it lives on. So
Good.
it's been open over 10 years now, which is amazing. So anyway, after that, I had all these new tools and I finally felt like I knew how to say what I needed to say. I
Mhm.
had the ability to say. So I always like I used to write in my journal and like pray, like I just want a creative voice. I need
Mm.
like I want to know my creative voice. And so fine, I don't know,
Yeah.
just kind of like was time.
Hmm.
So since then I've been it was mostly fiber at first because that's
Hmm.
my comfort zone. But this show that I did was my first solo show in January. I ended up doing sculpture, which I never thought I would do. And I kind of pushed the limits with the fiber for myself. So that's how I got to today. It's just been a long, slow confidence building process, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
it's just a
No,
long
thank you.
story.
No, thank you for sharing all that because I think it is like we all have this like meandering path to like how we got where we are. And I just like that's like the best part of the like all these conversations is just learning about how people got where they're at and how they've like, yeah, like drawn a line in the sand and been like, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm going to be an artist now and I'm going to call myself that and I'm going to own it. And
Hmm.
I think what it takes for you to get there is what it takes for you to get there, right? We all have our different life kind of journeys. And so it's incredible to hear all of that. So have you always been in Georgia?
No, I'm from Florida. And
Okay.
then I went to school, to college in Massachusetts. And
Okay.
then as a kid, I lived in Europe a lot growing up. So my
Okay.
dad worked in defense, not with the military or anything, but with a Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
And so we went over. I lived in Switzerland and Greece with them. And then I played softball pretty competitively, and I got invited to play in Holland after high school. So I lived there for a minute and played, which was like one of the best times of my life.
Wow.
And so then I went to college in Massachusetts, met my husband, and we after we graduated, moved to Boston, and we had our kids there. And then like once I had a toddler and an infant, I was like, I do not know how to do this snow thing with kids. Like we're in a
Yeah.
walk up, you have to have an infant and a toddler and dig out your car.
Right.
How do you grocery shop with all? I don't know. So we by chance found this amazing town in South Georgia. My parents had bought their retirement home in a town nearby,
Okay.
and like my mom and I came in, we were visiting them in that house, had lunch here, and I went home, went back to their house, and I told my husband, like, you have to see this town. And he was looking for houses that night, and we moved 4 months later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was like, this is where we have to go. So
Yeah.
it's been about 12 years now we've been here,
Okay. Okay.
I
Nice.
think.
You're like somewhere around there. I mean,
Yeah.
who's counting, right?
Yeah.
That's
It
so
feels
cool.
like no time and forever at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah. You like hit a point where you're just like, I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know.
Yeah, and you add COVID and I feel like it's like a time warp.
Yeah.
I can't judge time anymore
Mm-mm.
in
If
that
somebody
time.
says like 2018 to me, I'm like, oh yeah, like 5 years ago. I'm
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's close, but still, I'm like 8 years, seven
it's a
years.
long time ago.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, it's yeah, it definitely warped my brain because I'm like, oh, well, I taught through COVID, but then because I was a school teacher. And so I know like the scariness of dealing with this pandemic while they're also like, well, we got to still do our jobs. And I'm like,
Yeah.
awesome, I guess. And so, yeah, that just broke my brain. And then I quit in June of 2021 to do the business full time. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that really, COVID really tested school systems. I mean, we have two in our town and different responses, it feels like, from their administration. And you could tell,
Yeah.
even today, like there's
Yeah.
strain in some areas where you're like, well, that really showed the cracks of how things were going. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what teachers deserve going through that, but like extra angel wings or something. I don't know.
I
Lots of
know.
money on earth. I don't
I know.
something. That was
Yeah.
that's
It was crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. And just having to basically reinvent your job on the fly is like, okay, I guess. Like, are you gonna
Yeah.
pay me more? Because I'm like doing PhD level work to do this. Like,
Yeah.
and they're like, no, but you're probably gonna get a pay cut. So that's cool. I'm like, oh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
No, it was wild. And I was in a charter school. So like our school got to decide, like we got to decide what we did, how we responded, whatever. And ultimately I feel like our school was better off because we were able to make those decisions independent of the local districts because the two like main districts locally were doing opposing things. They weren't staying on the same page. And so just the next town over, which like they all merge together. So you can't tell where one starts and one ends. But like, yeah, those different responses. And like watching my friends go through it as like they're coming
Mm.
out of the lockdowns and trying to just like go back to normal. I'm like, like, are you kidding me? And like my youngest was in high school. Like he started high school when the lockdowns happened. And so he like had to start high school learning from home and like being sassed and like managed by his dad. And
Yeah.
like while I was having to go to work to teach in an empty room because people who, some of the teachers when we were working from home kind of ruined it for all of us. And so we all had, they're like, you have to be in your classroom for like contract hours every day, but you can't like hang out. You have to just be in your classroom alone. And I was like, this is the
Oh.
worst thing of my life.
Oof.
But anyway, it was just
Yeah.
so interesting. But yeah, I think it just like it was like collective trauma, and we're all just like, okay, move on. It's like, what? How?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
don't
it
know.
did. It showed the cracks. You're right. Like I think it really revealed where our society is not doing already isn't doing well on a good day, and then on a shitty day where there's like, a virus spreading and pandemic levels, like it just really revealed them. Anyway,
It's
happy
depressing.
it's fine. It's depressing, but hey, here we are. No. Um, oh, I was gonna ask you a question. Oh yeah, so okay, so you went to school for economics and mathematics, which I just think is so great. My husband is like a huge nerd and he's got mathematics degree and a computer science degree, and now he's a therapist. So I feel like that is like just such a funny pipeline of like super analytical to like creative, right? Because I think therapy's creative too. Like it's not
Yes.
so analytical. It is, but like, I don't know. Anyway,
It's fluid. There's not like hard and fast rules
yeah. Yeah.
that I know of.
Right. And like you can analyze in art too. You can analyze, you have to have certain things going on. You have to have certain parameters per se. But like, I just think it's so funny to like just how many people I've talked to in the quilting world that came from such an analytical background to like,
That's why I like quilting though,
yeah,
because of the math. Like
yeah,
I don't love following a pattern. I like making my own things up.
yeah,
It's I regret it about three-quarters of the way through every time. But but I love it. I love figuring out the measurements and the scale and um yeah, it's my favorite part. But like just making a pre-designed block kills my soul a little bit.
yeah, yeah. I
Unless
think,
I really want it. Like if I
right.
really need it for a vision, I'll do it, but like I don't get a thrill out of just like the process of
Yeah.
making a, bunch of blocks. But I do like foundation paper piecing a lot.
Yeah, that's something I never thought I would like. And then um I got convinced to just try it. And now I'm like, ooh, I could paper piece that. Oh, I could paper piece that.
It,
Like,
it opens up your possibilities.
yeah.
And yeah, it's really frustrating. I don't know for you, but for me, it was super frustrating at the beginning to
Hmm.
learn
Oh
to
yeah.
think
I was like
backwards, kind of.
ripping the papers apart because I got so mad. I was like, I'm not doing this. I was just like crash, like, I can't do this. My mom was like, get a grip. I was like, no, never. I'm not doing this. And then I
Yeah, I
tried again
started
and
with
it was fine.
my first one was a hummingbird because I usually like to try like a start with something hard so you kind of hit all the roadblocks
Yeah.
and not like doing the cool thing where you're like, let's start with stripes and just figure out the basics. I
Right.
think with foundation paper piecing, I should have started with the basics, but
Mm.
but
Yeah.
the hummingbird is still one of my favorite things, so
It's
that I
so
made.
cute. I love that. No, I did start with a log, or no, I started with a clock face. I made a clock face from Holly Clark. Um, and that was really cute, but it took me 1,000 tries. I'm like, they're just wedges. Like, why is this so freaking hard? But it's cute and it still hangs in my studio. And then I did a log cabin because I've made a log cabin, but I had never done it as a paper piece thing, and it was just like a little one. And I was like, oh, this is actually nice because the strips are so skinny that like having the foundation is so nice to keep everything like good and straight.
Oh,
Because I mean, it's like finished, it's only like 3.5 or 4 inches, like the whole log cabin itself. So the center square is like an inch. So
yeah.
no, I don't even think it's an inch. I think it's like half an inch. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's small, but it was so nice to keep everything in place. I didn't
Yeah,
want it to be wonky.
yeah. I know I made these like honorable mention ribbons for a local art show yesterday, and
Yeah, I saw
I
them.
just cut the like skinny strips because I wanted one like two lines to be 1/8 of an inch,
Hmm.
and I really had to just embrace the wonkiness. But if I considered doing paper piecing, but I was just like, I just want to get these done,
Right.
and for some reason, it felt easier just to cut strips. But yeah, it would have been much better with paper.
Right. I mean, sometimes the wonkiness is there and it's cute and it's just like, yeah, this is handmade. So
Yeah.
straight lines can fuck off. Like, I don't know. But
My best friend is an artist, but she's the opposite artistically of me. Like
mm,
my space is always messy. You could see around me, I'm like buried in my projects, and her space is super organized and tidy. And then I like my work to be finished, straight lines, tidy. And her work is very undone, raw edges, improv. So
that's so
yesterday when
funny.
I was making those, I'm like, just embrace Sarah. Just embrace Sarah's mentality. This is cute. It's
Yeah.
charming.
Yeah. I mean, I saw them and I was like, these are so freaking cute. I would be so stoked to have one of those, like,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, it turned out exactly how it was supposed to turn out. I love it. It's so good. But yeah, like the thinking backwards is tricky, but also like having that like almost freedom to bring more intricate designs into your work is
Yeah.
kind of, even though it feels more like, oh, you're sewing on these lines, it's like, yeah, but also look at all these cool things you can now do because you brought that kind of, yeah, foundation, that structure in. Like
Hmm.
now you can do all this other cool stuff. So I love learning, like you were saying, making a block is kind of boring, but I think for me, I like to make a block to learn a new technique. And then if I want to make a whole quilt, then I will. But otherwise, I'm just like, okay, I've made that block. I know how to do that now. It's done. And then I'm like, if somebody's like commissioning me, then I can be like, oh, I know this really cool block that would be so great for this project. And
Yeah.
like to use stuff in that way. But I'm with you, unless something is just like so striking and I'm like, I need that in my life.
Hmm.
I'm not going to sit and make the same block 68 times because I just can't.
Yeah. I did that week with for Erin's and yours
Yeah.
mass shooting quilt. And I remember by the end of it thinking, I don't know how she's done months and months of this. I could not. Like emotionally, yes, but just the repetitive and the
Mhm,
limited colors, I was like,
mhm.
she's a different level of sane than I am because it would be crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you hear her chat about it, she'll tell you she's taken long breaks and she's had to like set it aside multiple times to just make something else because of that reason. Like it's
Yeah.
just so repetitive and you're just seeing these names and these dates and like knowing that every single tally mark that you're sewing, red or blue, is someone being affected by gun violence. And you're just like, okay, I need to walk away for 2 seconds and go touch some grass. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not making blocks, but like, I'm long arming all of them. So
I do like the emotional work.
yeah,
Let's because I do think that's why quilting appeals to me in general is
yeah.
the history. I really, unless my colors are solid, I'm using thrifted materials. So I just love all of the life in
Mhm,
quilts. And that quilt is a different kind of life
mhm.
because it's actual lives and our very present anger and discomfort and sadness and grief. It's just that's why quilting is so cool to me. It
Yeah,
forces you to be slow and be with your thoughts and Yeah. Well, the kind of quilts I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think if you just keep like whipping through quilts just because they're easy, it's like, why are you even doing it? Like, I start to question myself. Like, I'm not judging anybody else because do what you want. But for myself, I start to go, why are you even making this if you're just trying to hurry? Like, you're
Yeah.
not even appreciating the process or thinking about why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you
More
making
power to
this?
people that can do that though.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I had that quality because like
Yeah.
as much as it's not in me,
Hmm.
there are artists who make pretty art for, lots of people's taste. And then there's people who make very specific art that's conceptual, it takes all kinds. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, I would like to just kind of have that brain for one day to know what it feels like, you know,
Yeah.
to
For
be
real.
able to just like enjoy the repetitiveness of like the same block.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I think there can be, some meditation in it. There can be that kind
yeah.
of calmness that comes with just knowing exactly what you're doing and you're just going to chain piece these, when you can kind of streamline a process and just work through it. Like that
Hmm.
to me, those moments I can appreciate because I'm not like rushing, but I'm also like, this is smooth, this is flowing, this feels really good. I'm getting stuff done, but I'm not like pushing myself and I think just hearing from other quilters, they find joy in that situation too, where they can turn their brains off for just a minute and just focus on the sewing and get in that flow state where they're creating something new and cool, but there's also a flow to it where they can just like keep, they don't have to make decisions. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes when you're creating, you can get that decision fatigue. And I don't know if you experience that, like as you're creating art, as you're trying to decide what materials you're going to use, how you're going to showcase certain aspects of what you're trying to communicate. Like, do you ever run into like a wall of like, I'm done deciding things for today?
I have to think about that. I don't think I've had that like probably yes, but I don't think I've identified it like that because I kind of know now like the feeling of when my idea is flowing and the
Mm-hmm.
feeling of when I just need to like not think about it and let it work itself out in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I have to think about how that would feel. Sometimes I just like I have this personality where instead of like stopping being uncomfortable, I just endure it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably should like be more present with the feelings and be like, maybe this is decision fatigue. But no, but I do know that when I have like been working on something and it's not working out, that and I haven't stopped when I should have,
Hmm.
I get just like it's less now that I'm more used to I don't know, used to failing, but when I'm failing, I
Yeah.
used to just get in these funks and it would take me days because I hate wasting materials.
Yeah.
And I just have to like put things away for days. And I shared a studio with my best friend for a while, and we had the couch of recovery. Like if we just were at that point, we just lay on the couch and then the other person, you like, don't bother that person. They are pouting
Hmm.
and mad at themselves and
Yeah.
they just need to be alone for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's valid. That's valid. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and who knows? Like, I think everybody's process is different for sure, but you know, I think as a teacher, that's when I started to realize like, oh, I'd get home and from, work of like making 1,000 million decisions on the fly every 5 seconds, like all day, every day, and then have to like decide what to make for dinner. I was like, I'm gonna
yeah,
kill somebody. I'm literally gonna like jump off a building. Like I,
yeah,
and not really knowing what that was. And then like through therapy, my therapist was like, that's called decision fatigue. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, you're tired of making decisions for everybody else. So like maybe, I don't know, communicate that with your spouse and see if there's something you guys can do together. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. And now being able to like communicate that, it helps me just stop. Like go lay on the couch and
Yeah.
pout if I need to and be mad about whatever for 5 minutes and just be like, I just need 2 seconds where I'm not making any choices or just like
Yeah.
let my brain settle down. And yeah, anyway, it's
Sometimes I'm like, I just need a dark room for a minute. Leave me alone, 20 minutes, and I'll just be in my bedroom with the lights out. I just need that, like, you know,
mhm, yeah, yeah,
that's from like mom fatigue, decision
yeah.
fatigue for sure. But
Hmm.
yeah, now I have this like system where I plan out the meals for the week and I make everyone pick a meal because I can't do seven. I can't
Yeah,
do a seven every week.
no, that's too much for one person. Like
Yeah.
just yeah, the meal planning or lack thereof is just like now it's just me and my husband. Our boys are out and like we don't have to feed them anymore. So we're just like, whatever. Like it's nice. I'm like, it's your turn to pick. And he'll be like, okay, fine. Well, let's have this. I'm like, all right, great. And it just works out nicely. But yeah, I was meal planning and prepping and stuff a lot back in those days, which did help. But yeah, that decision fatigue. I think if you're having to make any kinds of decisions, but I think too, when you're working for yourself, when you're in your own element all the time and you're the one who has to decide, I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I need somebody else to do this for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there is anybody out there. Because that's the other thing too, is like I don't want a business partner. Like I don't want somebody else to make the decisions, but I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Yeah. I need a life coach.
yeah, yeah. But I don't want to
Yeah.
pay them either. So not because
Right.
I don't want to pay them, but because I can't. I'm like I need to make some money first and then I'll be fine.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, right. I think that's I don't know how you are feeling about it, but like I think putting a price on your art is hard.
It is. It is. And I think because I'm mathematical, I had
Mhm.
to find I think my friend Sarah, who's basically okay, so like when I was little, I was like, I want a friend like my mom had with her best friend, which was super creative and they just kind of like read each other's minds. And
Yeah,
when I turned 30, I found her.
nice.
So um we bounce ideas off each other. So like she doesn't tell me what I need to do, but if I'm stuck on something
Hmm.
creatively, I'll just call her and we just like bang it, like back and
Yeah,
forth. And um that helps me work through a lot of creative decisions. But she found from this other artist a system of pricing art, which is like just say $1 a square inch,
mm,
calculate that, and then kind of as that as a starting point, see where you feel like you lay. And
yeah.
so that's
Okay.
kind of like for painting, which I don't really do. So it's harder for me to use that exactly with fiber art because sometimes it looks like some of the stuff I make doesn't look super intensive. It's
Mm,
not, I don't know. It is, it's a lot of work, but it doesn't visually looks like a lot of work. Anyway, so like that's kind of a good starting off point and it gives me some forgiveness,
mm,
and or like it takes some of the burden off to have this formula, even though I never charge $1 a square inch. That's crazy expensive, but like it gives me a point, and then I just kind of like this feels right.
yeah, yeah,
So I don't know why, but just once I got that like thought process, I could just kind of it eased a little of that um I don't know, anxiety about pricing things.
yeah.
And then the slash show I did not selling is nice,
Hmm.
but everything I made was fairly large.
Mm,
And I was like, I'm not making this to sell. That's such a luxury. But I just wanted to get this idea out. And so I priced it just like whatever, it's not going to sell because one of my pieces was 10 feet tall.
right.
And so anyway, it sold,
Nice.
which I did not expect.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for. But yeah, this show, I didn't stress too much about it because I literally did not think anything was going to sell.
Wow.
And I did well, which was good, but and shocking, but that's also nice to not believe it's going to sell. Just price it. I
Yeah.
don't recommend that, but that's how I handled that show.
You're like, I don't know. It's not gonna sell. It's fine. Yeah, that is a nice surprise, but also I think it is I like that idea of like having just like a formula for it every time because then because sometimes, things might take longer, or they might not take as long, but it doesn't change the value for you and what you think it's worth or what you know it's worth. And I think it can depend on the materials and da. It's like if you want to nitpick all that, great. Like and as a quilter, I do because I'm like, this is how much your batting is going to cost. This is how much your fabric is going to cost. This is the square inches of your quilt. So this is how much the binding is going to cost. Like, it's like I have to go through every little bit. Like it's 2 cents a square inch for basic edge to edge quilting. Okay, here's how much that's going to cost if your quilt is 72 by 90. Like, so there are things that can just be like, they have their price and they have their
Yeah.
whatever, but also sometimes that just still doesn't feel like then when I add in my labor hours of creating the top, people are like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, it's like just as much as, if not more than the materials and like the labor of quilting because like I have a computerized machine, so it mostly does the work for me when I'm doing that part, but still takes my time, right? So
Yeah.
it has a cost to it, but it's like you don't I'm in this, like I have to be paid for my time and that's valuable to me. So adjusting those expectations has been tricky, like going from an underpaid profession to an underpaid profession is
Yeah. People don't, I know, trying to like get people to value art and craft
Mhm,
is is really tough.
mhm.
I've thought a lot about it, trying to figure out how to present art in my community as a way that educates people,
Yeah,
because there's so much available at like Hobby Lobby, art, things that you can easily decorate your house with. And it's just really muddled the
yeah,
art world for young, like small collectors or something, because I don't know. I feel like in my town until recently, as an artist, the only thing that you really get asked to do, there's we're known as an artistic town, but there are no galleries.
what?
I know it's very strange. And we have a great center for the arts, but they only in the last couple of years are having consistent regular shows in the space because it's a weird space. It's an old school building and there's a lot of kids in and out of there because they do a lot of, programs and partner programs and things like that. But
Okay.
um yeah, just all we got asked to do was either participate in public art for free
Hmm.
or donate art for auctions.
Hmm.
And so, like, what is your town like? How does that make artists in your town feel?
Right.
Like
You're
we're
still asking
just
them for free
for
stuff.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
getting much better
That's
because
good.
we have, like I said, we have a really good Center for the Arts that's kind of working on changing that. So
That's good. Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have a currently have a yarn bomb downtown, which is fun.
Fun. I love that.
So yeah, they asked me to do it, and I was like, I don't like. I'll crochet if I have like it needs to be a part of a thing, but like just to put it like on a lamppost, I'm not. So
Yeah.
they're like, you can use fabric. I was like, okay, so
Awesome. Got that.
it's a fiber bomb.
Oh, I love that. No, that's so cool. And I think it's interesting to see like the different ways people do put their art out there. Like, yeah, the yarn bombs, fiber bombs. I keep seeing stuff around my town too. Like that's one thing I love about being in Boise is like it's so focused on art and putting it out there in public and also like valuing it. Like I have a hotel like right across the river from me and they're known for their like kind of it's a gallery, but also they feature all these local artists and the walls are covered in art, but it's all for sale. And um we have like several galleries and but there's tons of just public art all throughout downtown and like it's just such a cool place to be in. And I take it for granted because I think like that's just how I've always grown up and it's always been around like that. And so then yeah, like knowing that there's still places that are just like, yeah, it's art's cool, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just interesting the way it's approached and like and especially coming from like women, it's almost like, whoa, that's cute that you do that. It's like, it's not fucking cute. Like, I'm telling you to fuck off with my art and I want you to pay me for it, please. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
why is it less
Yeah.
valuable because it came from feminine hands? Like,
Yeah.
dumb.
Luckily, most of the artists I know here are women.
That's good.
Shocking. I don't know if it's shocking, but like there's male artists, but I think
Yeah,
most of the active artists in Thomasville are women that I can think of. Um,
good.
yeah, that sounds so cool to have public art your whole life.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember in my town in Florida growing up is like they did these like fiberglass horses because I come from Ocala,
Oh,
Florida with a ton of horses.
yeah.
And then they had like I guess probably 50 because it was some popular thing in the 90s, 2000s. And then these artists painted them and then they auctioned them off.
Mm,
And those were around town.
that's cool.
I don't remember art growing up, like
Mm,
just having it around,
yeah.
like galleries and public art and stuff like that.
Hmm. Dang. I know. It's so interesting. And like, I think too, it became like I've always, like, I remember, seeing things growing up, but it also got brought way more to my attention because my art methods teacher in college ended up, like, I ended up working at the school where she worked. And, like, her bringing our attention to it in our class in college. And then also then having a classroom full of kids every year that she would, they go to our class with Miss Boo, and she would take them on walking field trips to go look around at the public art. And then
That's so cool.
so just getting more exposed to it, and then meeting, parents that of my students that, like, the mom is an artist, or like it's just so cool. And then it's like finding her friends who are also artists, and like just getting to notice it more and more. And yeah, it's just been interesting. I think now that I'm actually saying it out loud, like, I think that that actually has shaped my perspective of like, no, art has so much value because it's always had value for me. It's always been a valuable piece of like where I've been and where I've grown up and what I've encountered. And I don't know. I think if you don't see it, it's hard to imagine that you could like make money doing it.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's I've seen that happening in like fiber art world too in
Mhm,
the recent years. It's just like, there's been such a stigma about fiber art as craft and
mhm.
how it wasn't fine art. And then you have like Bisa Butler and these other fiber artists who are breaking that barrier. And then now you're just seeing so many fiber art shows in museums and galleries. And I
Mhm.
think like probably the Met Gala probably helps too with fashion design. I know our museum, the High Museum in Atlanta, just got a big donation to host fashion exhibits for the next couple years. And
Oh, nice.
so yeah, just seeing the fiber world
Mhm.
not just be quilting, clothing, and then those are like the important parts. It's kind of cool to see like Zach Foster like
Yeah.
getting like breaking the rules and getting crazy with
Mhm.
his stuff. And I was listening to your episode with the I forgot his name, but the guy from Solarium,
Zachariah, Solarium. Yeah, Zachariah.
and
Yeah.
he was talking about how he has like quilt shops with like unique voices and multiple. I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to be in a place with that many options. Like Joanne's closed in Tallahassee recently, and I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I mean, so well, a good thing I thrift a lot of fabrics, but yeah, I was
I
like, I needed Heat and Bond Ultra the other day. I looked online at Michael's, at Walmart. They were all didn't have it in store. Well, I'm gonna have to improvise here.
yeah.
We do have a good quilt shop in Tallahassee, and there's a couple, but one I'm really familiar with. But like his story of just like supporting each other and carrying, so many. There's like so many fabric designers that they can all be
Yeah.
successful. It's just like
Yeah.
that sounds like Disneyland for quilting. I want to
Yeah.
go.
And Portland's unique because it's a port city. Like they get a ton of they just like have access, I think, to more options that's like more readily available and easier for them to get because of that. But they've always had like a great like linen and fabrics district. So crazy. But yeah, it's just interesting, yeah, to be in a place that there is variety. And I am like I was like, oh, Boise doesn't have that much. But I'm like, we do actually. We actually do. And I just forget sometimes that like certain places exist or like, and like, yeah, our Joann's is closing too. So it's really sad because I grew up going there and I grew up like
Yeah.
learning about different crafts and different things like touching fabric and touching yarn and painting and
Yeah.
just all the different crafts because we had that. And, it was one thing that like was always available in our house. So it's just like doing something creative and crafty. And like my mom's always sewn, that was her thing. And so it was, there was always something crafty going on in our house.
Yeah.
So it's always
My,
held a special
yeah.
place.
My mom, she loves home decor fabric, and
Yeah.
she just sometimes she's like, I need to go touch fabric. I
Yeah.
just need to go touch some fabric. And like, you
Yeah.
can shop online, but there's nothing like feeling it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah. I remember when
Absolutely.
I was little, the craft store in town, it wasn't Joann's, it was I forget what it's called. Maybe it became Joann's, but they had this giant container of buttons and you could just get
Yeah.
like a cup of buttons. And I just one of my most vivid memories is like being bored when my mom was getting her fabric cut and like just playing with my hands in the buttons.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That sounds like a good time. Yeah. I definitely would have been like elbows deep in that thing. Like,
Yeah. This
because
is a great idea, but probably they do a lot of sweeping. As kids are,
probably just
yeah,
buttons everywhere. Ugh.
yeah,
That's so funny. Yeah, it's the accessibility is definitely one of those things too. It's like, yeah, you can thrift, but like, is that where are you going to find your heat and bond out of the thrift store? No. Are you going to find thread and needles? I
yeah,
mean, maybe if somebody donates their sewing stuff there, but it's not like a surefire bet for the notions of what it
yeah,
takes to make or the supplies that what it takes to make your art. And so losing something like Joann's is monumental. I mean, it also just to me illustrates that like capitalism isn't working that great. And if a big chain like Joann's can like put themselves out of business, then like
I know. I love the memes that were coming out like, Joanne's, what happened? I gave you all my money.
like you have all my dollars. Like, why are you
Yeah.
broke? Yeah, exactly. It's like that's a scary thought that like an institution in the craft world, as shitty as it got in some areas, like I would still be like, "Ugh, I guess I'll go to Joann's for it because I know they'll have it. It's like,
Yeah. For the
especially for,
staples. And
yeah,
then for me, the Kona solids.
yeah. Yeah. It was once I was like, oh, they actually sell Kona salts. Okay, great. But then
Yeah.
like the availability of certain colors, I was like, where is all the colors? I don't know. It was
Yeah.
our store here was so weird. Like they'd say they'd have stuff online, like, oh, it's in store. And I'd go there and they're like, yeah, we don't have that. I'm like, why on the website does it say you have it in the store? They're like, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you gonna go look in the back? Or like, can I go back
Oh.
there? Like
Oh my God. That's funny.
but
Yeah. Luckily, I've collected like those swatch cards from
oh yeah.
different, like my favorites.
Hmm.
It's just solid. I don't know why, but like it's hard for me to buy pattern fabric off
Mm,
the bolt new. But
yeah.
solids, Annabelle Wrigley,
Hmm.
Annabelle, right? Oh
Annabelle
my gosh,
Wrigley,
I
yeah.
always feel like it's supposed to be Annabeth, but it's Annabelle
Hmm.
from Little Pincushion. Like her
Yeah.
solids are like candy. I just love them.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There's some good ones out there that I recently tried the new I don't know who makes them. Hoffman maybe, the 24/7 solids.
oh, what
And
it?
it's like they're brushed cotton, but they're made with the weave, like a normal quilting cotton weave. So like Art Gallery's brushed cotton, but then it has like the poplin weave. So it's not like stretchy like a quilting cotton. It's more drapey like an apparel fabric.
Mhm.
But these have the softness of the brushed cotton, but then they work like a normal quilting cotton because of the weave, the warp and weft.
Okay.
And man, they're nice. I really liked them.
Let's try that.
Yeah. And I have a shop here. She's not like an in-person shop, but her name's Angela Bowman, and the shop is called Sofinity. And she's usually like a sponsor of QuiltCon and like she does like paper piecing design too. And anyway, she carries every art gallery solid, she carries every Kona solid, she carries every grunge, she carries every century solid and every 24/7 solid. So
Wow.
she's like mainly a solids shop, which I freaking love.
I need one of those.
I know. She does online shopping, so you should check it out. But I'm
I
like
will.
unofficially, she's not a sponsor. But I just love her so much. And she's just like so supportive. So I'm always like trying to support her back because she's just like so kind to me. But anyway, um, any kind of solids you could ever need, she's got it all the time, which is so cool. Cause I'm like, if I can't find it, if I'm in in a different shop and I can't find the color solid I need, I'm just like, I'm calling Angela.
Yeah.
But
It's
anyway,
bonkers how like specific you have to get with the feel, the color. I mean, this might sound so stupid, but it still surprises me sometimes where I'm like, that's not quite green enough.
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I'm like, it can't be any old teal. Like, it needs to have a little bit of duskiness to it. It needs to have a little
Yes.
more green in it. It needs to be a little like, if it's not right, it is not right.
Blues are the hardest for me.
They're
I just
tricky.
yeah, and I'm super picky. Like if it's at all dusty colored,
Hmm.
I just can't. I don't know why it's not in my world. But it's
Yeah.
like I have a million blues and I use like two of them.
They are tricky though, because it's like they're either too bright or they're not bright enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't, why is this so hard?
Or like I need a specific level of inky navy blue.
Hmm. Yeah.
Which is this is like really like shows I didn't go to art school because this is probably just color like obviously it's normal color theory, but with fabric, I don't know why I think it should just be easier, but whatever.
Well, yeah, I just think there's so many and so many different dye lots and so many different interpretations of what a navy blue is. And like
Yeah.
if you say navy blue, it's like something pops in your head. And then if you go look for fabric and it doesn't match that, you're like, what? Where's the navy blue? They're like, it's right here. And
Yeah.
I'm like, lies. That is not navy blue.
That's
That's
not
indigo. Or like,
yeah.
yeah, that's charcoal. Like, I don't know. It is, you're right
And you
though.
can't mix to make your own color.
No,
Yeah.
that's the hard part. Because, yeah, it's not paint, it's not clay, it's not dye. Like, you have to just get what you get, like, get what's out
Yeah.
there. And yeah, it's like, nope, that's not quite the right shade. And it's going to make everything look weird. So, I get
Yeah.
that. I totally feel that. And I will shop forever to find the right thing because I don't
Yeah.
want to settle either.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. Makes you appreciate like those old quilts that are just like what they had around the house that got holes in it, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
great grandmother's quilt she left me. I'm like, these are weird choices, but I guess they weren't choices. They were what
Just
was
whatever was there.
available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think somehow that would be if the quilting industry wasn't a multi-billion dollar industry, I feel like that would just be the coolest way to go about quilting because also you're like inadvertently creating like family heirlooms
Hmm.
and like memories and families can remember like, oh, this fabric came from this dress that my grandma always wore. Like, oh, this fabric came from my granddad's shirt. Like it
Yeah.
holds those memories. And it's like not like specifically a memory quilt. It's just like, yeah, that's what was around to make a quilt out of. And instead
Hmm.
of, I couldn't repair it anymore. So I took the good bits and made a quilt. Like, okay, cool. Like I've that like simplicity of that, I feel like takes that decision fatigue away because you're no longer having
Yeah.
like tens of thousands of different type kinds of fabric to choose from. It's like
Hmm.
that's what you have. And I sometimes feel like we like we inundate ourselves with too many choices and then we're sad about it. And I'm like, we did this to ourselves. you know?
It's like luxury quilting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, this is like way first world problems. Like,
It is kind of like, oh, it's kind of depressing to think about because quilting, such humble beginnings,
mhm,
kind of shameful beginnings in a way. And
yeah,
now we're just like, can't find the right navy.
yeah. Like that is too yellow. I can't look at it. Yeah, I know. It's like so funny. But also I think in making art with the intention of making art, like there's a communication that happens with a certain color palette. And like, if you're trying to bring a vision to life, and if you're using fiber, like you said, you can't just mix it. That
Hmm.
it's not the same. And so it does become a nitpicky thing, but only in the sense of like, yeah, like I have this vision that needs to come to life. And I mean, I think too, sometimes people view being artistic or creative is a luxury, but I think it's a necessity for just being alive.
100%. I 100% agree. My sewing studio that I had was called Your Maker, and it was
Mm.
YOU apostrophe RE, and it would annoy people so bad. And I was like, no, because you are the maker,
Hmm.
but you're made, like when they say you're made in God's image,
Hmm.
then he's the maker. So it would make sense if you believe that we are made to make things. Like there
Hmm.
is a sense of grounding with making, For me,
Yeah.
it used to be feeling like spiritual,
Hmm.
but now it's just like it's spiritual, but in a different way. It's like it always just kind of brings me back into myself and it centers me.
Hmm.
And it gives me, like when I'm stressed out, it gives me a sense of like control and peace and,
Yeah.
on the most basic level. So, and it can be like my husband, he doesn't think he's creative, but he's handy and he creates things around the house and he's a drummer.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of people do it and they don't realize it's making,
Yeah.
but they value it, like it gets a different value than art. So
Yeah.
I just really love what you said. I didn't get to say it, but the thing about Boise and just like growing up and having art around you and valuing it because you didn't know not to, kind of like,
Hmm.
God, that's really cool. I mean, it is really cool.
Yeah.
It just gave me so much reflection on like my childhood and what I hope that I gave for my kids by being around, the
Yeah.
studio and me as an artist, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
such a cool sounding place to grow up.
Yeah. It is really cool here. It's really beautiful and close to nature. Like there's a gorgeous, clean, beautiful river that runs through the city, and we've got foothills really close by. And there's just like an abundance of, I think, inspiration for people because of where we're at. It's like a high desert, but we're just in this uniquely situated spot that's got this gorgeous river and trees. And yeah, I think it's important. And that was one of my most favorite parts about teaching, is being able to share that, like noticing with my students, because we would go on field trips, we would go around town. I'd be like, oh my gosh, do you guys notice this? And they're like, oh my gosh, look at that art. Like just
Yeah.
being able to also pay that forward to them, but also you are creating that for your kids. Like I think having your maker space, your business, and showing them that like you can make stuff, and you being an artist and valuing what you do in that creative space, like, and not defining it by like you're only an artist if you're a painter. Like you dabble in so many different mediums, and like you
Yeah.
produce so many different types of art pieces, that I think that's so cool that you're creating that for them so that they can see that, and you're giving them that value. Like, look at this stuff. This is important.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not like, oh, it's so uncool, mom. But they're just starting their teenage years, so we'll see.
Pray for you. I've been through
They're
it
good kids.
twice. Yeah. My kids are good too. So I'm like, I say it with a grain of salt, because I honestly, things could have been gazillion times worse,
Yeah.
and they weren't. And I'm forever grateful for that, because somehow those boys came out real good. So
Good.
yeah. And like my youngest put it, he's like, I just grew up in this love bubble. And he's like, now that I'm like out in college
Oh,
and like meeting people and realizing like, oh, not everybody grew up that way. I'm like, I mean, your dad and I didn't grow up that way, but that's why we wanted to create that for you, so that you never felt unsafe with your own family. And
yeah.
he was like, yeah. He's like, it's just so strange, like hearing other people talk about it. He's like, obviously, I know like yours and dad's stuff. He's like, but I think it's just different when you're like hearing it from the outside world that's like outside of that bubble, and like you're talking to people that don't have that safety and don't have that like knowing, that deep knowing that like you are so loved and like safe. And I was like, oh my God, what?
That's really nice words to hear from your kid.
Yeah. So then he's the one we fought with the most. Like he was a little bit tougher for both of us, but just like pushed us so hard to grow as humans. And like, there's nothing more humbling and also more freeing than being able to apologize to your kids. Like,
Yeah,
to be so grown that I can say, I'm so sorry for messing up and being that way to
yeah,
you. Like, I was like, oh man, that's actually like really nice to be able to say those words and not be so prideful that they can't come out of my mouth.
yeah. I agree. I know. And it's nice because like we expect our kids to apologize, but if you're not willing to apologize to them when you obviously mess up, like we're all human,
Mm-hmm.
then how do you expect them to pass it on? And
Right.
the first time one of my kids like came back to me and apologized like sincerely about something that wasn't like that hadn't yelled at them,
Right.
it wasn't a punish like they were off thing. It was just they left and said, I wish I handled that differently, and came
Mm-hmm.
back and said it. I was like,
Right. It's like, oh my God, what?
yeah, but I mean, I don't want to be like braggy or something, but I do think it's
No.
because I agree 100%. Like being able to apologize to your kids is not something, you know, not something we maybe grew up with. And
Yeah.
the being able to like that feeling of being able to like grow because you're kids and to not stop learning and stop
Mm-hmm.
changing based on your situation. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
why people thought like they reach an age and they just get to be whatever they want or what they've always been and not change with times. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah. I don't either. It's like, and I get like there's things that are tricky about life, but I think if you just like boil everything down, like all of our choices and all of our everything is just like you either are doing things out of a fear or you're doing things from love. And like it sounds like woo woo, but I don't care because I am. And and I think too, like if people are like, oh, that makes me so mad, it's like, okay, but what's the underlying fear or like what's the thing that is like so scary about that that's making you mad? And like realizing those things, it's like you can then also flip it and go, okay, how in this space where I feel scared, do I show myself love and compassion at the same time? Or like those other people in the situation, it's like you can flip it on its head then when you can finally understand it and identify it. And identifying emotions has like been an adult journey for me because it wasn't really taught in my childhood. And I don't blame, I'm not like mad at my parents about it, I'm not like blaming it, just that's the environment we were all in, right? They didn't have the
Mhm.
tools either, so it's like they
Yeah.
couldn't teach me something that they didn't know necessarily, and they were so young raising me and my one brother. And I don't know, but it's definitely something like my husband and I have strived to do, and just as adults it's helped us grow so much as being in that mindset, and then helped me be a better business owner because of it. And like I can be more true to myself and understand when I hit those decision fatigue moments or when I hit a wall and I'm like, whoop, that's a boundary for me. I need to be better about communicating that to other people. Like, and not in the sense of like, you made me do this, but like, I don't have the capacity for this, or like, I'm not willing to do that. So I need to find a way to communicate that in a businessy way, like,
Yeah.
but, it's just how it just helps overall in all of life, not just in parenting, not just in like interpersonal relationships, but just in everything. I think being able to pull back and go, oh, okay, that's just this thing. And yes, I'm
Yeah.
allowed to feel feelings about it, and that's fine. We're humans, we have emotions. But like what you do with that is, I think, the important piece. And make art or talk to
Yeah.
somebody, or it's like there's so many different ways to express it too. So I don't know.
I definitely like making angry art
Yeah, I do too.
because I'm not comfortable living in negativity and anger.
No.
And so to have the ability to like put it down in fiber or paper or whatever has been so
Yeah.
good. But a lot of people that know me are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I love I love things that are angry, but I don't like feeling angry. I don't like when people are mad at me, but
Right.
I like the expression of anger. Like I
Hmm.
really like the expression of anger. And I think, oh man, just had some like flashes of like maybe I need to think about that more. My childhood.
Welcome to therapy. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, I have to write my journal after this.
Yeah.
Maybe because I wasn't allowed to express it as a kid.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just attracted. Like I love angry songs. I love making
me
art to
too.
angry songs,
Me too.
but I like being happy more. You know, like
Hmm.
being feeling happy, but
Hmm.
expressing frustration and anger. That
Yeah.
makes me sound really weird, but
No, I honestly, I'm right there with you. And I think it is definitely a product of like, I didn't have a safe space to fully express myself or, and now that I have control of that, my environment, and I get to decide when and how I do that, like, yeah, listen, the music I choose, the art I choose to make, the quilt I choose to make, the way I interact with the world around me is up to me. And like giving myself permission to feel those feelings and to let it out instead of holding it all in. It's like, that's the sweet spot because like yeah I have anger within me but I don't want to keep it in there because it makes me sick like physically my body
yeah,
can't handle it so it has to come out and it's like well I can either be an asshole to everybody around me or I can make beautiful things from it and I'm going to make
yeah,
beautiful stuff because again like you I'm happy like I love people I love getting to talk to people I love my life I'm like in such a
yeah,
good spot and I'm angry about a lot of things too. So
yeah,
it's like finding that balance of like where to put it all is
yeah,
the fun part.
yeah. It
I
is
think.
fun. My brother, when he was in high school and teenage angst and all that,
Mhm.
he really took to moshing to get to his anger. Like,
Yes.
why don't you try moshing? I was like, I'm not into pain, but
Like
that's
I'm
fine.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day that was like men craved each other's touch so much they created this and it was just like a video of like a big mosh pit and I was like yeah they just need hugs and instead they're just like shoving each other around like just hug each other.
But the truth of that though is so crazy because that's such a supportive community. It is so
Yeah.
counterintuitive to think like swinging your limbs around and hitting people. But I've watched mosh pits, and that's some of the most loving,
Yeah.
caring people
I know. I
like
know.
supporting each other. Like I haven't, I'm sure it has happened, obviously, but like I've seen mosh pits where it looks violent,
Yeah.
but it's joyful.
Yeah. I know. I
Maybe
know.
I do need to mosh. I don't
Maybe.
know.
It scares me a little because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to pain. I don't want to be hurt,
I'm too old for moshing in my next life.
I know. Like my back can't take it. My knees. I'm sorry, I can't. Um no, yeah. I just thought that was so funny because I was like, yeah. And then there's like, all these other cultures where it's like male touch, it's not seen as like homoerotic or, it's not given
Hmm.
this like sexual overtone that like makes it uncomfortable for men to have close relationships with other men that are just friends, but they like hug and they are like physically more just touchy. I don't want to say like intimate in a way. I guess that's my own.
Affectionate.
Yeah, affectionate because they care about each other and they are their culture makes it more appropriate. It's allowed. It's never been shamed to be. It's like, no, this is how you are with your friends. And it's like, oh, how nice would that be?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
much else. I don't know exactly what cultures. I was just like saw something and I
Well,
didn't like
when I lived in Greece, one of the
oh yeah.
greetings is kissing, and
Yeah.
like it's a three. No,
Yeah.
was Holland three? One of them was 3 months too, and it's just like a lot more embracing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It'd be nice. I feel like we'd have a lot less ill men and just humans in general. I think if affection wasn't like anyway, I could go on a soapbox about so many things that have to do with that. But anyway, we're here to talk about art. And so I yeah, so I mean besides like angry songs and like angry stuff, what inspires you to create? Are you like is there something specific that like gets you in that creative mindset or yeah, like how do you find inspiration?
yeah. Um, well, like anything that I love double entendre. I
Mhm.
love and I love just like for instance, um things that are like I wouldn't say this is double entendre, but I've always been attracted to graffiti because it's
Mhm.
art, but
Mhm.
it's crime.
Mhm.
People, it's polarizing. You can like it or you hate it.
Mhm.
Um, I like architecture a lot. I've done a lot of reading about architecture and architects,
Mhm.
and I just like shape and texture and lines, color. So
Mhm.
I like to look at architecture books. I love reading biographies of
Mhm.
creative people. I don't
Mhm.
know how that translates, but it's just like hearing other people's creative processes allows me to just embrace whatever I'm feeling because there's no one way to do it. And sometimes I get caught up on like, I make my world very small.
Mhm.
And to know that, hey, maybe I can do sculpture. Why not? Let me make something that I'm really proud of, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I love just the the angry songs, but like it's not like mean. It's just like things that express I'm sorry, this is so
No,
muddled.
it's good.
It's like it's all has to do kind of with double entendre. I don't like anything that's too straightforward. I like,
Yeah.
like with architecture, it sounds like a weird inspiration, but it's like
No.
it's a building and it's technical, but you live in it, has uses and just like how you can design a space like to be visually pleasing and physically pleasing.
Mhm.
And I just like art that is thoughtful from the way that you look at it to the way that you experience it physically.
Mhm.
So I think that's why it ties back to architecture. Like my favorite art piece, the first time I ever like fangirled over seeing a piece in person was Judd Stacks, his
Uh-huh.
like boxes on the wall.
Yeah.
I saw them at the MoMA in the early 2000s, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
because it's so dumb. Like they're boxes on the wall. They're not beautiful, they're not technically difficult, but the intelligence behind simplifying art in such a way that like you move and you see it and it's different from every angle rather than like a painting that's flat and you see it left, it looks the same as seeing it from the right.
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, that kind of was one of the like life-changing moments of like seeing the thought behind art.
Mhm.
Because I can't
Yeah.
I can't make something that's just pretty. That's just not like I can't do it. I'm not talented enough to like this make something just pretty. I don't have that artistic ability. I don't know. I mean, things that I make can be pretty, but I don't look at it. I don't have confidence like,
That's not why you're making it.
yeah, but if I was like I just need a piece for my wall, if there's no meaning behind it, which I guess is
Mhm.
what you just said, like I just can't create something just
Yeah.
if I made it without meaning, it would be ugly. Does
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Like I think we look for pattern, we look for like things that flow and make sense because that's what our brains seek for comfort. But that I think that the like you're saying, the double entendre, the like multiple meanings, the kind of like dissonance that happens from like you're saying, like graffiti is art, but it's crime. And you're like, I'm not supposed to like this because it's illegal, but I love it. That kind of discomfort almost in art is what makes it interesting and makes you stop and go, oh, what the hell?
yeah,
And things that are just pretty, like great, good for people. If you have the technique and that is what you do, then do that. Like, and if it
yeah.
has meaning for you, then amazing. And whatever. But I like what you're saying of just like that, those contradictions that kind of give something interest. Cause like, yeah, boxes on a wall, okay. But yeah, it's more interesting three-dimensionally because you can see the different aspects of like what's going on and you move and it changes and it's a living thing. It's not just, like you said, two-dimensional squares on a piece of canvas. Like you get to interact with it in a more real way.
Hmm.
And that's how, I mean, I've only ever seen pictures of your pieces, but that's how the feeling they give is like, oh, you're supposed to like get up close to this and like move around and look at it differently. And it's a living, breathing
I'm
concept. Not
glad you see that in a picture. I'm
yeah,
glad.
yeah, yeah. Your photos capture that really well, um, and that's like the art pieces I love are because they have that. They have got movement. They've got something in them that makes me stop and go, what is going on here? Like I want to look at it more because it's captured me in some way. And like, yeah, to find those contradictions, it's like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. Like it, yeah. So I think I'm with you on that as well. And that's it, I think it just makes things more interesting and gives more insight into like if somebody paints pretty flowers, like fantastic, but it doesn't tell me anything about your personality and who you are as a person, you know?
Hmm.
And again, I'm not poo-pooing on it because I can't do it to save my life, but
Yeah, I
I
can't do
am
it either.
forever impressed by people's technique and their pursuit of that. And yeah, anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
I don't hang like my art on the wall,
mm,
except when I've taken an art class and I paint something that's not terrible and I have no deep connection to it. Every one of those has been framed. I'm proud. Like I wish sometimes I could, approach things from that angle, but like just yeah. But I don't hang the meaningful stuff for some reason.
hmm.
I don't know. That's weird too. It's making me think about myself today.
Do you think it's like too personal maybe or
I think part of it is like when I'm making something, um, I think about every part of it for so long, from
mm,
the material to the process. Like the process really also is part of each piece. And it's
yeah.
hard to explain that, but like, for
Hmm.
instance, I made a piece that said, well-behaved women seldom make history. It's all sheer and it
Hmm.
hangs at an angle, so it's like a ceiling, and it's called glass ceiling.
Hmm.
But all of that is improv because of the words. So
Hmm.
like I didn't plan that out. I just sewed over months like different
Hmm.
sections, then put it together because I'm like, well, I can't have rules in a piece that's not about rules.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the I think once I finished it, I have thought about it for so long and so like obsessively that I don't really want to live with it anymore.
Right. You've released it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Yeah,
that.
exactly. That's what it feels like. I got you out and
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like I've said it multiple times on multiple different episodes because I think it comes up over and over again and it rings true. It's like once you've created a piece of art and it's out of your body, it's out of your brain, it's not yours anymore. Like it's now belongs to the people and and
Yeah.
so it almost feels like keeping it feels weird maybe like this isn't mine anymore. I let it go. I released it.
Yeah. I loved that about the show. It's the first time I've done that many pieces and it's been so personal. But I just love the feeling of finishing it and then letting it do its work. Like it
Mhm.
had its own work to do, which was it was with me for a year, over a year making it. And I,
Mhm.
knew every bit of it. And then it goes out there and I didn't even go visit it because I'm like, I just want everything about this to be separate from me personally.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't really post about it that much, which is not a great marketing move, but I didn't, I wanted it to just live. And now that it's down, I'm posting the pieces and telling what they mean because there's a
Yeah.
lot of meaning behind them, which I always am super interested to learn about people's processes and stories of
Mhm.
anything, inspiration, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's for those people. And now I feel like I can bring myself back into it now that it's done its work.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
No, I love that. And I think if you're making art and feeling so precious about it that you can't let it go do its work now, like then that's a whole different thing entirely. Like, why are you making it then? And some art is personal and maybe you never share it, but I don't know. It can be a tricky space to be in, I think, too, if you're not in a place where you can let other people into your world in that way. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess like to go back to the mass shooting project because we mentioned it a little bit, but um yeah, I guess like how did you get involved with that? And obviously I am too, so I'm just curious how other people came to it and like how long have you known about Erin and all that, like what her project is. So yeah, let me know.
Yeah. I think early on when she started last year, someone I follow shared it,
Okay.
and I cried just like immediately, and followed her and have been following since.
Hmm.
And I'm one of those people who is like, I hope she's okay because I wouldn't be. And I
Hmm.
understand why she feels like a way about people asking her that, but like
Yeah.
I did a week and I was like, she is built different because I don't know if I could carry it on for 2 years, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I know it's important. And I think I remember when in your conversation with her, and I hope it's okay that I'm like throwing it
Yeah.
back to your
No,
conversation,
yeah.
but when you guys were talking about, finding it kind of being your first way to like protest or,
Hmm.
you know, do something political. And then when you went to Bernie and AOC, which is
Hmm.
so cool,
Yeah.
I wish they were coming near me. Um, and just how like hearing you guys just so real about, I get a sense of like from you is just a little bit of fear of going for whatever your reasons are, because I feel also fear about going to a big protest, and especially with being aware of all the mass shootings going on
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just have like really admired her for all that time. And when she put it out that she wanted help, I was like dying to help because I also have, I mean, people know where I stand politically. I'm not afraid,
Hmm.
but this felt bigger and different. And um, I don't do anything. I like have opinions, but I don't like, I have never done anything big, with my
Yeah.
opinions, for fear and lack of opportunity and probably privilege. So,
Hmm.
um, it felt like a nice, not nice, but it's like a, a intro
Yeah.
way to be involved in something. I watched her struggle with people responding to it, and
Hmm.
that made me really nervous too because I'm in a small Georgia town, which is you can imagine, and
Hmm.
plantations everywhere. We still talk about plantations like nothing. Not
Yeah.
they're just like memorials and
Right.
hunting grounds and resorts, but it's
Right.
weird. But yeah, I've just feel such an emotional connection to what she's doing, with the kids, my kids and their age, and
Hmm.
experiencing childhood through their eyes with mass shootings. Because I was in ninth grade when Columbine happened.
Hmm.
So I didn't grow up with that fear.
Yeah.
But like every now and then, my daughter will go through periods. She's 13 where she's afraid every morning out of nowhere. And just because she's seen it on, TikTok or YouTube or whatever, just people
Yeah.
talking about stuff, news. And we have to like spend a day, a week helping her just like get over that,
Hmm.
feel safe and as much as we can. And um, so when she opened it up, I was like, I don't know, I just felt like I had to try to be a part of it and also feel like I don't know the sound. I don't know how this sounds, but like to support her,
Hmm.
because I
Yeah.
can only imagine how I would be doing making it 365 days.
Yeah.
And I just want to take some of that from her for her,
Right.
And
Hmm.
yeah, I was really nervous to post it, but it was a good experience. I didn't have any negativity, but it like come back at me. And it's
Yeah.
nice to see how many people have, like she said, from like who's making it and how they're feeling about it and relate to it, but also like people responding to me about how they're feeling that have nothing to do with her project, just I'm the first time they're learning about it, like my friends and
Yeah.
people. So like rambling, but yeah, pretty much as soon as I saw it online, I was like obsessed with following her. progression. And oh
Yeah.
my God, she's so smart.
I know.
I
I
don't,
know.
I would, I have to like think forever if I was going to respond to any news or, something that happens. And she comes back so fast with her responses, and they are solid responses. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, she's emotional, obviously, but they are not, they're intelligent responses. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah. 100%.
and anyways, I would not ever want to get into a verbal fight with her. She would win. It's
Yeah.
so fast.
I know. I know. I'm like, oh, I'm glad you're my friend. And like, yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I think, you know, having sending kids to school, but also being a teacher and having to teach kids how to hide and
Yeah.
how to engage in those kinds of drills is just a whole different thing. Like, and and so yeah, when she started, I was like, holy crap. And then when she was kind of getting closer, I was like, who's long arming your stuff? Or like who's quilting your stuff? She's like, I don't know. Do you want to? And I was like, yeah, I really do actually. And kind of when I told my husband I was going to be doing it, he was like, are you sure? Like, he's just kind of nervous for me, just like, and he's like, I just don't want anything bad or like people to say bad things or, just
Yeah.
more like nervous for my sanity with it all. And I was like, I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of being the good girl who doesn't say
Hmm.
anything, who doesn't rock boats, who makes people comfortable, even though I'm so uncomfortable. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to be that person anymore because then I have to try to sleep at night knowing that I didn't speak up when something was wrong or that I didn't let people know like this is who I am. How you choose to
Hmm.
interact with me is up to you, but
Hmm.
at least I can be kind enough to let you know exactly who I am. And like I can be
Hmm.
kind enough to be clear about where I stand on things. And I think someone like Aaron who is so brave to be so eloquent and also not let bullshit be bullshit. Like
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I can do this too. Like it's that mirror of seeing someone else doing what I wish I could do. I'm like, well, instead of wishing, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. She definitely has like keeping her in mind in moments where people around me are saying bad, like terrible things.
Hmm.
And I've always, I feel like I've probably always said something, but I feel like seeing her and people like her and you and a couple other like people I've followed online be so unapologetic
Hmm.
gives me permission in a new way. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's doing more than she knows for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
agree.
yeah.
I
So,
agree.
but I hope she is happy also
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's so good at expressing herself. But I'm like, I hope you also have good news in your life too, because there's all bad news right now.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. Yeah. We're in like a group chat with some other girls and we share our woes, but there's also fun stuff happening too. So it's all good. But yeah, I think too, when something is so heavy like that, and instead of people being like, oh, bless your heart, I hope you're taking care of yourself, it's like, how do I help? How do I carry this with you? Not like, you know, I hope it's not too heavy for you. Is that like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, like the offering to be the long armor just I was like gonna be free. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll donate it, whatever. I'm not looking to get paid. But then she's like, no, you deserve to be paid. And she's got the donation, the buy me a coffee thing set up. And so there was enough money to make sure that my services were paid for and that like the batting was covered. And those kinds of things where even though I was willing to do it for free, there was money available to make that possible. Because again, like we're creating a big art piece that's going to go be displayed, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's tricky, but yeah, it's just like how do I help you carry this and not be like a bystander that's giving you sympathy, but like empathy and
Yeah.
and like I could cry over here by myself, or I could cry and carry it with you. I don't know. I keep
Yeah.
like saying the same thing over and over again, but I feel like it's maybe not coming across. So I'm going to stop. But
No,
anyway.
I like the way you said it. Yeah, that's how I felt too. Just like I wasn't in it for me to be a part of it, but like it just feels heavy and important, and
Hmm.
we just have to do it together, And so, yeah, I know I'm like really emotional about this goal.
Hmm.
I just, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. And I think when I see it in person, I'm gonna be a mess. I will travel to go see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah. It's definitely like, yeah, when I got that first panel to long arm, I was like, oh my God.
yeah.
My friend Michelle, she made us out of blocks, but she came over. She's like, "Is it there?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she like came over to my house to see it. She's like, "I need to see that thing in person." So I like got it out for her, and she was just like, I'm like, "I
Yeah.
know. What the fuck?" Like
Yeah.
I have to quilt this thing. Like, how am I gonna do this? And it is emotional. And I did find myself like getting emotional while I'm quilting it and like
Hmm.
crying through it and feeling angry and working with Erin to be like, is it okay if my writing gets a little sloppy? Because I'm feeling pretty fucking pissed off right now. She's like, yeah, do it. Like, do what feels
I
natural
love
to you.
that.
And
Yeah.
so that freedom to like loosen up and like let the emotion come through.
Be
And
artistic and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's like that felt really cool and cathartic because I've held on to these thoughts and these feelings for so long. I mean, I was a classroom teacher for 8 years. And every year, multiple times a year, I had to look in those little babies' eyeballs and tell them, it's okay. I'll take a bullet for you. Like, what? How is that
Yeah.
okay? That's trauma.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
traumatic for me and for them. And
Yeah.
thankfully, like they believed me and they trusted me. And so if I said jump, they'd say, how high, miss? It's like
Yeah.
they knew that their safety was my number one priority. But like, man, that takes a lot of emotional energy. And
Yeah.
it's just a different beast. And I'm in an open carry state. So like I've been mentioning, Boise, like very insular. It's pretty chill, pretty liberal here. I mean, our city council just voted to make the pride flag an official city flag so that our state can't force them to take it down because it's not an official
Wow.
flag. And they were like, okay, bet. Like
Wow, that's cool.
then
Why
this
isn't Boise like in the news more? Come on.
because we want it to stay
You
quiet.
want to keep it a secret.
I
Yeah.
know. And it's not so secret. And it's really sad because it's becoming a more wide known secret to like a lot more politically right leaning people. And they're moving here from like California and other
To what?
states
Change you?
to no, because it's like outside of my city, the state, it's like the reddest red state. Like it is so we're like 30 years behind everybody else politically and socially because our policies, our laws are so backwards and so conservative. And so people think it's a conservative refuge. And so they're just moving here
Oh,
to because, oh, California's too liberal, Washington's too liberal. And I'm like, grow up, dude. Like, oh, because they want you to have, healthcare and safe roads. And, it's like, I don't know. Idaho's gorgeous and I don't blame people for wanting to be here because there's so many cool things about the state, but like stop. It's not your political refuge. Get out.
get
Um
out.
yeah, but anyway, it's really cool place. You should come visit. I also have an Airbnb in my house and
Oh,
you could stay here. Anyway, but I don't know what I was saying. I lost my train of thought. It's fine. Anyway.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, well, that week that I
oh,
did the quilt,
yeah.
uh my daughter, they've had like 3 or 4 lockdowns at that point that were false alarms,
Mm,
which is just like, I don't know, not much better. I mean, no one's dying, which is, amazing. But the fear, they don't know what's going on.
right.
And she's like, just, huddled in a closet, like listening to
Mhm.
friends crying and trying to hear if anything's happening. I mean,
Right.
So I, I did the blocks. I thought I was prepared.
Mm-hmm.
It just hit me different than I expected. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I just like, I could not get out of bed the next day. I mean, that sounds so dramatic, but
No.
I just couldn't stop thinking about kids. And
Mm-hmm.
then my daughter had a false alarm that week
Mm.
where they were walking out to car line and the alarm went off and they had to run like back into the school. And she was just like, that was the most scared she's been because she didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
It wasn't organized like the other ones were. They had a system.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I didn't know if I should run back in the school or run towards a softball field. Like, she's 13.
Yeah. Right.
So it was a
Yeah.
rough week.
Yeah.
A lot of crying and a lot of quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's been
I
really cool to hear everybody's stories about, how they're tied to it. I like how some people meditate kind of on the stories and they read the individual. I didn't think to do that. I don't think I could handle
mm,
knowing the details.
yeah.
But yeah, it's different to like sit with it for so long, even though I only did a week. I did seven
Mm-hmm.
shootings, but like it made it real in a way that I had felt like thinking about it in terms of the quilt, watching Aaron, I felt like I had reached a level of like connection to it, but then like sitting with each block for so long and thinking about, well, this was in Atlanta and this was in near my hometown in Florida, and
Mm-hmm.
it was different. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, it's like, oh, see a post about it, you can read about it. It's like, oh my gosh, wow. Yeah. But when it's in your hands to make those blocks and then be responsible for representing those people's lives, it's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
that's cool, I guess. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a whole different level of responsibility, I think, in it. And like, if you didn't feel anything, I would be like, wow, you're dead inside. Um,
It
like those are
was
people.
fun. I had a good time. I love the colors. Everything was fine.
So I love red,
No.
white, and blue. Go America. Yeah. So I'm with you. Like I think we all I'm with you. I like love reading about other people's experiences with it and like how they are approaching it. Because although we all have our own emotional responses to it, like we're all still showing up and we're all saying like, yeah, this sucked and it was really hard to like face this, but I'm still here. Like, and I'm gonna still be here with tears coming down my face. It's like I always
Yeah.
think like I can cry and do hard things at the same time. It's not one or
Yeah.
the other. And like, yeah, sometimes like you just need to take some space from it. You need to step back, give yourself some room to breathe and reflect and contemplate. And then it's like, okay, how do I show back up? It's like,
Hmm.
and for me, that's how I have to think about it. Cause otherwise I'll just like go in a hidey hole and never come out because there's a lot of scary things going on.
Yeah.
And but I think the louder we are, the more pushback we give, the more we're kind of seeing things back down. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't mean
I was
there's,
talking to the head of the art center here
Mhm.
and the all of the funding that got taken away this week.
Yeah,
And it's just like you can't plan for the future of anything right now because it's
yeah,
all this bluster and destruction. And then they get a little bit of pushback and it's half reversed or it's confusing. No one knows what's happening. And I'm just like, how does any business, any art center, anyone plan
yeah,
anything?
yeah.
I mean, I took that to a different place, but like,
No, it's this, yeah. But it's like, it does connect because, as Erin is completing these, as, you and the other participants are completing these blocks and we're making these quilt panels, like, we're not making them in vain. Like we want them to be shown. We want people to see
mhm,
them. We want them to be in the public eye. And so if there's nowhere for them to go because places are being shut down or underfunded and they can't be hosted, then like, yeah, what's the plan? What's moving forward? And thankfully for Erin, like after our last episode, that we did, she got a few people that popped up that were like, I've got a place you can show it. Like, I'll get you connected. So she's actually got
Good.
places where they're going to be, which is like, oh, thank God. Like, that's so nice. But yeah, it's like that planning of thinking ahead even a year. It's like, well, I don't know. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know where we'll be as
I
a,
don't know what our finances will be like on a personal level because,
yeah,
you know, I mean, who knows I don't know.
yeah, I
It just
know.
makes my head spin. I had to go back on my anxiety medicine. I was
That's
like,
smart because I mean it's a crazy spot in time and like yeah, there's no
yeah,
there's no assurances that there's going to be anything there for us in the future because of what is being done and undone in the blink of an eye. You're like,
yeah,
it's only May and we're already like we're losing. It's like they want to take away PBS, which I'm like, excuse me, that's ridiculous. It's like they're defunding like art programs and like
yeah.
libraries. And I'm like, they want us dumb. I get it. They want us dumb so we can't fight back. But like, are you kidding me?
I know. I'm like, this is a different form of the apocalypse than
Yeah.
this is like a
Yeah.
intellectual apocalypse. I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
the thing that has been like kind of depressing but also encouraging through the response from people
Hmm.
is that people are making change. Like I think we spent the first like 2 months like hoping for political leaders and hope through those people,
Hmm.
but it's been really cool to see communities being, strengthened, growing to
Yeah.
take on that work. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope that we can. I think people are just tired of politics in general. So I don't know what the future is gonna look like.
I know. I don't know either, but I think you're right. I think when we lean into our communities of the people around us and do what we can in our sphere of influence, like the people we can actually touch and have influence on and with, that's where we're going to see the big changes come from. Because,
Yeah.
like, if people are going to be subversive and not follow these, new laws and mandates or whatever because they're stupid, like, what are you going to do? Put us all in jail? I mean, I know they're just deporting, quote unquote, deporting. You can't deport somebody if they're already a citizen, but hey, who's here for semantics? Obviously, not
And
our freaking government right now. Um, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you want to try to overwhelm us, well, we're going to try to overwhelm you, kind of thing. Like, watch us.
yeah. Have you seen this artist? I don't remember her name right now, but she is promoting this campaign to overwhelm the administration with letters,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
mail.
Yeah. I've been mailing
Yeah.
stuff. It's a good
You
time.
have? I
Yeah.
think we need to talk about it more because I want to
Yeah.
know how big it is. And like, I'm kind of like, well, I don't get a sense that this thing is taking
Yeah.
roots. So, it kind of affects like your motivation
Yeah.
to like keep up with it. But
Yeah. It's called Operation Maelstrom.
that's right.
And I heard about it from oh, what's her name? From her Instagram handle is Shabby Creek Cottage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's who
So
it is.
she's got a whole post about it. So it's information about what you can send, where to send stuff. Like I looked up, well, I'm sending stuff to the White House, but also sending stuff to my local and state um representatives. And it's not about like writing this
Yeah.
eloquently worded like 7-page letter. It's like you can mail anything. It's the idea to like bog them down
Hmm.
with so much mail, and they have to log every piece of mail. And I think that's it,
Right.
because like calls, emails, whatever, they can like, oh no, they disappeared, but they have to sit there and physically open and log every single piece of mail.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Operation Maelstrom. And yeah, I just got like this box of cheap cards from like Hallmark or whatever, and I just like wrote out just like messages like, you're failing us, or like, it'd be cool if you were good at your job, or like
I like that one.
just like one sentence
Sucks to
things.
suck.
Yeah, like really like Like, you're only in power because billionaires fund you. Like, nobody wants you here. And it's mean, but at the same time, I'm like, you're fucking with my life, with the life of the
Yeah.
people that I care about because you're lining your pockets. Like, and I want
Hmm.
you to be so annoyed by the fact that I exist. I
Yeah.
want you to know that you annoy me.
Yeah,
And
it gives them, because they're not showing up for town halls
nope.
and all they hear is their yes men and their, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people who support them in their echo chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Male is a physical representation that they can't ignore for
Yeah.
now. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll figure it out, but just
Right.
get rid of the post office.
They're trying, which is so, ugh, yeah, that's a different thing. But
I'm loving the like trend of giving us permission to like be angry and mean back, because there's nothing meaner than these policies. I mean, they're just
no,
mean
they're mean.
and they don't care. So why should we try to give them grace? Like,
Right.
be mean.
Yeah.
Do you know
It's like,
Suzanne Lambert on TikTok?
yep. I love her so much.
She's the other one I had in mind when I was talking about how like Aaron was like building my bravery. Like, she's
Hmm.
giving me, you know,
Yeah.
that courage to just not worry about hurting someone's feelings if they're being crappy or shitty to me. Like,
Right.
you don't care. Why should I care?
It's like, oh,
This
take the
isn't
high
a
road. I'm like,
relationship I want.
no. And that's the thing. It's like, oh, take the high road. It's like, for who? For
Yeah.
who? It's not helping me because this person
Yes.
still keeps shitting all over me while I'm like, it's okay. I'm just going to turn the other cheek. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
turn the other cheek and then walk away and say, don't fucking follow me. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
One of my friends has gone total MAGA. Like, I don't know her anymore. I mean, it
me
is
too.
weird how people can change.
That happened to
And
me too.
she communicated with me twice, and I both times I was like, I don't even I don't know you.
Yeah.
And the second time, basically I was like, please leave me alone. Like, I'm
Mhm.
done here. And I mean, it was like a whole communication, but
Yeah.
the response was, what happened to the party of tolerance? I was like,
It's
I didn't even
gone.
respond. That was our last communication. I was like,
Yeah. You're like,
yeah,
you don't
this is
deserve
not
an
an
answer.
eternal fountain here.
Right. Well, and I think that's the crappiest thing about it is they're like try to use that like, oh you're so tolerant. Well, why aren't you tolerant now? It's like because you're literally stepping on my neck and you're
Yeah,
happy about it. And then when
right.
I say I don't like that, you're like, oh, snowflake, oh, you little wuss. Like, I'm not going to tolerate that. Like, no, I will tolerate like a little bit of ignorance and a little bit of just like misunderstanding. But when you're outright, you know what you're doing is going to hurt other people and you're okay with it and you're happy about it, that's where I draw the line. I'm not going to tolerate that.
Yeah, the joy is disturbing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think like putting that back, mirroring that back in their face and being like, oh, so you like that this is harming it's like they don't know what to say. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
or well, I didn't realize it was going to affect me. It's like, yeah, dumbass, like read the room. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, political rant.
Just confound is the word confounding? I don't know. It
Yes.
just, when I try to make sense of it, my brain can't. It's just like glitches, like does not compute. I mean, everything is backwards. It's like
Hmm.
I don't really know the meaning of the Ouroboros, but that's what it feels like. Like they're just in a
Hmm.
circle eating their tail. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are literally causing a whirlpool and you're just gonna get sucked down. Like, none of this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And the thing that
Yeah.
makes sense is the most evil. So I can't
Right.
believe that that's true.
Right. I know. It's like you cannot, and if that's what it means to like be right, then I don't want to be right. Like I don't want to live in that space where harming other people, deliberately attacking people's existence is the right thing to do. Like, absolutely. I'd rather be so wrong. I'd rather know that I'm going to go burn in hell than choose
Hmm.
that because, all right, like I can sleep at night knowing that I want other people to exist peacefully and have their needs met and that we should take care of each other and help each other where we can. And it doesn't mean like becoming a doormat for people, but just like within your boundaries, within your limits, saying, oh, this is what I can do to help. And so I'm willing.
Hmm.
And, you know, when you're surrounded by people who are like, I'm going to get mine and, everybody else can fuck off. It's like, well, if everybody thinks that way, how are we going to get anywhere? Like
Yeah.
that's why things don't move forward, because
Hmm.
everybody's so focused on scrounging for scraps and like chasing the coattails of rich people to try to get their scraps. It's like you could be creating something so much better for yourself and for the people around you.
Yeah. I haven't had that many like confrontations with um with like opposing views, not because partially because I have a lot of liberal friends here, but like
Mhm.
also I just decided to shrink my world and not in an echo chambery way, but like I just think it's time to like put the work into community, and that's only going to start with my small group because that's all I have the energy for.
Yeah.
And I just see that happening a lot, like
Yeah.
small community. I deleted Facebook because I'm like, I don't need to know where Joe Schmo went on vacation, when someone I knew in fourth grade that I'll never see again. Like this is a wasted brain space
Hmm.
and not the kind of community that's real. And so I deleted my
Yeah.
Facebook and it was like freeing.
Yeah.
And yeah, just focusing on small community has been so satisfying, just like everything is more meaningful
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that intentional of like turning towards the people that, again, are in your direct sphere of influence of your direct community, I think is important. And it's nourishing because if you're always looking outwards and always looking at like, yeah, all the random people that you're tangentially connected to or had a connection at one point, but you're not anymore, it's like, it's overwhelming, but it's like, and I like, for me, I lose sight of like what's right in front of me. Like, oh,
Hmm.
no, but here's what I can do. Like, instead of thinking about like, oh my gosh, it's so big, this problem's so big, it's so scary, it's so whatever. But then like coming back to myself, coming back to
Hmm.
where I'm at and who I'm with and what I can and what I actually can do, like that helps ground me too. And like I can make sure that people who engage with my business know where I stand so that I'm only inviting people who are willing to either just not tell me that they are like MAGA or super religious, or they are aligned with me and they believe in also engaging with other businesses who are like-minded and supporting those businesses. And like it can only benefit me, right? Because if I'm saying yes to everybody, then that has me compromising myself and I don't want to do that anymore. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, like closing the circle, making it tighter, making it smaller. I think just from what I've seen and learned, like mental health wise, it's actually like better for you to not try to appeal to so many people, because if you have a tighter knit group and a smaller community where you can just be your real full self with, like that's healthier than trying to spread yourself so thin. So I'm like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm, I'm going to
That's a
lean
good
into
way to
that.
think of it. Yeah. I just like, I don't need to be angry over you posting your one-off unthought out thought, your
Mhm.
reaction that just makes
Yeah,
me angry and think about it and dwell on it. And I don't even know you anymore.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, so yeah,
Yeah.
all I have is my art Instagram and I pretty much only follow art creative things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the greatest part of, you know, if you have a chosen platform of social media, then like curate it, make it how you want it. You get to decide what you see and don't see, and you can be more mindful of what you engage with. It doesn't have to be the cesspool that people like to say that it is. And like, yeah, there's some really crappy things out there, but don't follow it, don't engage with it,
Yeah.
and you won't see it. Like, I don't know, my
Yes.
Instagram's kind of a cool place because I've spent
I have no
time.
complaints.
Yeah. Like I spent time making it a place that I want to be, that I want to
Yeah.
experience, and engaging with people that I want to know that I think they're cool?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, oh my gosh. Okay. So we went like full circle all the way into political art,
I
and
know it's a lot.
I love it so much though. Like I think when you find what you feel like you're put on this earth to do,
Mm,
like, yeah, let's talk about it all day.
yeah.
I can talk about what I do all day. I'm sure you can talk about what you do all day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's why I do this. So I can talk about stuff, art stuff all day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. I was like, I would love to have a podcast, not a podcast. I want to do like I like a TikTok where I interview artists and like ask their inspiration, but it's just I want it to exist, but I don't think it's naturally me, but maybe one day. But
Yeah.
that would be fun. I would just I love hearing about artist processes and inspiration so much.
Hmm.
I was watching the Ralph Lauren documentary earlier today while I was getting ready.
Hmm.
He's oh my headphones are gonna die. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Okay. Um and just he has such a cool story and like
Hmm.
learning about how you kind of take it for granted. I grew up in the 90s. He was established and it was like,
Yeah.
everyone had to have a polo shirt or whatever. But
Yeah.
to hear his journey, it's just so cool. Like how anyway, it doesn't matter. But I just
Yeah.
love hearing about artists' inspiration. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so having a podcast getting to talk about quilting sounds super fun.
Yeah, it is a good time. And I learned so much too, which I think is like selfishly like a huge reason why I love this because I just learn so much. I like get exposed to so many cool things that like maybe I'd never heard of or just like give me a new way to think about things. And I just feel like I'm such a better human for it. So now you get to be added to that list of coolness.
Thank you. I have learned about some really cool quilters from your podcast. And it was like I've always followed Zach Foster,
Uh-huh.
like, but I never heard his story or like, I just look. It's more like I look at his stuff. I never
Yeah.
heard. So yeah, he was really cool too to
Yeah.
hear the story of his transition into quilting and stuff. So
Yeah. 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 It's just fun to get to know those things and the story of like we all have a story, right? And so just getting to tell it on your own terms and I love just getting to be a part of hearing it and sharing it. So thank you so much for being here and doing that today.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before we head out though, like you have a website, right?
I do.
Okay.
It's not updated. I mean, it's emilymckenna.com.
Okay.
I pretty much just do my Instagram.
Okay. And it's also
Yeah,
Emily McKenna made.
Emily Kenna Made. Yep.
Okay. I'll put links in the show notes
Okay.
directly so that people can just do one click and get there. They don't have to like, how do you spell that?
Yeah.
Because that's always annoying when people like spell stuff out on a podcast. I'm like, I can't write that fast. Like, and then you have to rewind it 47 times. Just put
Yeah.
links. Just do links. It's fine.
Links are great.
Yeah. And then do you have a tip or a piece of advice that we can gift our listeners?
Yeah. I've always felt like there's artist James Victory, and he said it best was like, what made you, I might mess it up a little bit, but basically, what made you weird as a kid makes you great today. And so I always think, I have my studio, like we always said for the kids and adults, but people are more willing to send their kids and come and learn something new.
Right.
But is that weird is not an insult. Like weird just means you're doing something different and people don't know, like they don't, it's not what they're doing. And that's your superpower. So like being a kid and being weird and not weird, weird and like follow your interests, follow your instincts, follow your guts because you're going to be happier and no one's going to make things like you do. So don't try to figure out what's less weird because that means someone else is doing it already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know like be weird is like so trendy, but like I just think that's the greatest compliment I get when someone's like, oh, that's weird. Like, yeah, thanks.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I think yeah, leaning into it and I think yeah, the word weird being used as an insult. I mean, I know it's meant to mean like it's out of the ordinary, but that's exactly what you want to be, right? You don't want to fit in. You don't want to be part of a cog in the machine or just, made from the same mold as everybody else. And so leaning into that gives you permission to explore who you are as a person and just fall deeper in love with your own self and the world
Yeah.
around you, I think. Because when you can appreciate your own self, at least in my experience, the more I learn to love myself, the more I love the world around me. And
Yeah.
so,
And you contribute more when you're totally yourself,
mhm,
not only because you're happier, but because you're bringing something unique to the community.
yeah.
And if everyone, I see that with like in a small town where like everyone kind of just keeps up with each other. And I'm like, I want the people who are doing weird things because they have good stories and they take me on adventures and,
Hmm.
they have good conversation and,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think the happiest I have been is, since that moment where I'm like, I want to do something creative and I'm just going to move forward and keep my mind open. What feels the right direction, I will go that way and
Yeah.
hasn't steered me wrong. When everyone's always like, oh, do you miss your maker? And I'm like, no. And then they're like, what? I'm like, no, because it was the right time.
Hmm.
I was really honest with myself that this is the moment. If I keep going, not being good for myself, but I'm also not good for these kids. This has had at that point 7 years of, great things for kids in our community. But if I continue, it's not going to be good, because
Hmm.
I'm spent and,
Hmm.
and so I don't miss it because it was the exact right moment for me to change what I was doing and Carrie's carrying it on and it's still
Yeah.
great. And I'm very happy doing what I'm doing now. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. And I feel the same way about teaching. It's like people are like, oh, are you going to go back? I'm like, no, I was able to let it go. And I exactly right what you said. Like I could not be my best self in that space anymore. And so I had to shift. And yeah, I'm here now and I'm not going to think about the past. Like I'm grateful for the things I learned from it, but it's like the world's going to go on and I get to do something that I really love and make fulfills me. So I love that you found that as well in your art and that you get to just make what your heart desires and express what you want to express and not feel pressure from anybody else to do something specific because I think that can be hard too, but
yeah,
you're making amazing amazing art and I for one am a huge fan. So
thank you so much. That's
yeah.
that's really nice to hear. You're like kind of alone all day. You're like, well, I hope someone
Mhm.
understands what I'm doing.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Cool. Well, thank you again so much for being here and we'll be in touch.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks.